Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about what kind of timeline you should be expecting from start to finish when you actually go to sell your timber. So first off, just expectations are huge when it comes into this, and timelines can vary drastically depending on how you go about it. But if you're working with a consultant, you're getting bids and all this and that, and working the plan that I recommend. Typically, your first step is going to be have a consultant or a forester come in and actually, figure out a goal, figure out a plan that's going to work with you and your woods, and actually lay that out and go through and mark the timber. So this process, to come out and assess kind of what you have, typically can take several days till you go through and actually scale individual trees and figure out what kind of timber you have and different things like that. So it'll vary anywhere from 1 day to, if you have a huge property, it can take over a week. Once that's done and you have a breakdown of all the timber in your woods, next thing is going to be getting a good group of companies to come in and place bids on that piece of timber. And this is something that you want to give these mills plenty of time. And so to be able to come in and do the actual bid, we give typically anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. We try and err on the longer period. That way these buyers have more time to come in and assess what's there for themselves and decide what kind of price they want to put on that timber. From there, once they have that, we do the timber contract, and we give them 2 weeks to get the contract signed and have 25% down on what they put on. So say they bid $100,000 on your piece of timber, they have 2 weeks to come in and provide 25% down. And at that point, we typically try and do a year all the way up to 2-year contract. So like I said, these mills have a lot of timber bought up for their crews going forward. That way they can just move in and out and move on to the next piece and not have to be looking to buy the next one after that. So they're buying ahead of time. For that reason, they like to have plenty of time to be able to get to that next job and not be pushed for time on their contract. So we like to minimum give those companies at least a year to come in and do the project. And that obviously depends upon the size of the project and all this and that, and we try and work together with you as a landowner and also the mills to make something work there. But typically pretty standard is 1 year, and we're trying to push that out even more to 1.5 years and sometimes 2 years if you have a really big project, and that just allows them to come in and actually do the work. So when it comes to actually doing the work, it varies greatly upon weather, time of year, and actually even terrain and type of timber you have. So good quality crew can move between 8 to 15,000 board feet a day in good working conditions and assuming terrain isn't too bad. So say you have 100,000 board feet, you're looking at say 10 days of good working conditions. So you're looking at 2 weeks. But you throw in some rain or wintertime when it can tend to be muddier. That can change that, because we would rather have the crews take their time and not tear up the woods. So you're looking at actual project time of doing the job. It can be pretty quick if you have a very large piece of timber up to 500,000 board feet or something like that. It can take quite a few months to finish a project like that. And like I said, terrain and weather play a huge role in that. And most crews, we try and get them to do the cleanup throughout the process. So if they finish a section in the woods, we want them to have that reclaimed and graded and cleaned up as they go. And each crew does it a little bit differently, but for the most part, that's what we push for them to do. That way there's not this huge cleanup project then at the end. And then everything has to be actually cleaned up and done before they leave. There are certain situations where in the wintertime, they can grade 95% and get everything really close. And maybe there's a bad creek crossing that they need to come back then that summer and finish fixing to get it up to par. But those are pretty rare instances. So overall, you're looking at from first contacting a consultant like myself or somebody in your local region to you. Like I said, and this will vary from company to company and person to person, and but this is a pretty standard procedure. Is a couple days to a week to get that initial kind of see what you have there. Past that, you have a month to get the bids in, and then past that, a year to a year and a half to be able to get that timber cut. Now, like I said, if they're a little bit lower on inventory, then they can get to that pretty quick. Sometimes, you might have it 2 months after the timber sale that they're able to move in and accomplish that project. So, that can be as short as 3 months. Whereas other times, you're going to be pushing that further out and further out. But that kind of gives you a timeline expectation for what to expect when you actually go to sell your timber.